Hi guys, Ali Duzette here, and yesterday we talked about the eclipse that's coming up in just 2 weeks on October 14th. This is a solar eclipse that's going to basically reset everybody's connection with themselves. We all get a little reset of how we feel about ourselves every time there's a solar eclipse. Whether you notice it or not is something else, but that is kind of how eclipses work. Today, I wanted to give us a little preview of what it's going to look like astrologically. So again, I am personally a Christian, and I know that this causes a lot of stress for some people. You can search on my channel for stuff about astrology and Christianity. I just feel that they really work together very well, as long as you make sure that God is the main thing, like it's bringing you closer to God. So I believe that that my work helps me get closer to God, and that is my intention for all of the star-based work that I do here. Okay, let's take a look. This is the sun, this is the moon, and this is the south node, and over here is the north node, and this is what is going on at this eclipse. Okay, this eclipse is having the moon show up in between the earth and the sun, which is going to block out the sun from the earth's perspective. The sun, astrologically speaking, deals with your core sense of self. So when that moon gets in between and disrupts the connection between the earth and the sun, we're all going to just experience this little reset. And in between the solar eclipse on October 14th and the lunar eclipse on October 28th, we have this 2-week period where we're all going to have plenty of weird, unexpected opportunities to show up and grow up and glow up. All sorts of things are going to flow into our lives to help us realize where we need to change and heal so that we can heal and grow and have a better life. So we're just going to look at this chart and see what it's telling us about this month, about the nature of this eclipse portal, about what kind of lessons we can expect to learn on a global level and also on a personal level. How this eclipse portal affects you personally is going to really come down to your own natal chart. That moment when you took your first breath on this planet, like what was the night sky up to in that moment? How this eclipse portal fits in the context of your personal life journey is going to be unique to you. But this is just going to be an overview for everybody. So this is taking place in the 10th house. And so this is the house that is in charge of government and reputations, and business. And so it would not surprise me if we have some economic stuff show up, if we have some business and government type of big happenings going on that kind of take over the news cycle. The purpose of this is for us as a planet to heal. This is Virgo, 27 degrees of Virgo. This is the midheaven. The purpose is healing. And what is going to show up is some conflicts about what people feel like is fair when it comes to business, when it comes to government, when it comes to our personal reputations, all of this kind of thing. And so those are some questions that are going to be coming up for everybody. Libra is all about relationships and alliances, marriage, okay? On a global level, it deals with alliances. On a personal level, it deals with things like marriage, things like a one-on-one friendship. So we're going to have a bunch of stuff come up in those regions. This Mercury right next to the moon is going to make us be thinking strongly about alliances, marriage, friendships. There's just going to be a lot of thought energy going on into this. It could look like overthinking. If you start overthinking some key relationships in your life during this period, that would explain it. This Pallas is also going to be involved here. This is an asteroid, and she deals with strategic thinking. And so this may be, well, and I always kind of view her as a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. When I see her in a chart, I'm like, this is I don't know, whatever she's up to. She's thinking, she just has unusual thoughts. She thinks a little bit around the corner. She is taking into account things that other people are not taking into account. And so we may see some new and different ways of thinking about the world in the context of our relationships showing up for basically everybody. Now, this is the part of fortune, and where the part of fortune is in a chart is your treasure. X marks the spot. This is right next to the ascendant, which is this arrow. This tells me that there are a lot of blessings on this eclipse portal, and that if we're going into it consciously, then we are going to see some real treasures show up from it. And that doesn't mean it will be easy, but just that it will be very blessed as we're working with these energies consciously. Now, this is a really critical thing to be aware of. This blue triangle has Pluto on one end, Uranus on the other end, and the midheaven up here. The midheaven deals with kind of your overall destiny, and our overall destiny is pointing at Virgo, the sign of healing. So our purpose going through this eclipse portal is to heal ourselves, our reputations, our friendships, our marriages, which is really interesting because I'm hoping to release my new book on feminine energy in October, this very month. So I don't know, that would fit in with this, but this triangle, whenever there's a triangle like this, it means that there's a natural flow. Uranus over here deals with unexpected events that kind of shake you up. It's the planet of earthquakes. It's the planet of volcanic eruption. Okay, it's the planet of just unexpected catastrophe. It doesn't have to be bad, but often it is, because most people are not awake to see how, you know, the big shaking events of their lives are actually not terrible. You know, we see ourselves getting shaken up like we're having a personal earthquake, and our default setting is to be like, oh my gosh, what a disaster. It's not always a disaster. Sometimes it's just what we need. But this Uranus is telling us we're going to see some big shakeups in our everyday lives and routines. Something about everyday life, possibly something about our health, is going to show up and kind of shake us up. It doesn't have to be bad. This can be a really good wake-up call. It can be an unexpected blessing in the area of our routines, of our housing, of our just the stuff that we do every day, our jobs. Okay, so this can be very good, but it does look like something unexpected. Over here is Pluto. Pluto deals with death and rebirth. Anywhere Pluto is, we're going to see a big transformation. And here Pluto is in Capricorn in the second house, which deals with, actually, this is Taurus's house. And here we have Uranus and Taurus. So we have some interesting earth energies in play here. Big transformation, death and rebirth in the area of assets, housing, money, land, economy. Capricorn is in charge of the 10th house. So you can see this big theme of earth energy. Taurus, Capricorn, and Virgo are the earth signs. And the 10th house and the second house and the sixth house all deal with work. And so those are definitely the houses that are being highlighted right here. We can expect a big focus on work and government, and just we'll see some big transformations. How big? Right? How big is going to be one of the big questions, because everybody always wants to know what big, horrible thing is going to happen, right? And, you know, I covered the Pluto return on this channel. If you haven't seen those videos, look up Ali Duzette Pluto return. They're worth a watch. But the point of the Pluto return was that we have all of these markers in the clock that is the night sky that were indicating possibility of significant civil unrest in the 12 years after 2022. That leaves 12 years. That's like a long time, guys. So what we're seeing here is a lot of transformation and upheaval around government, but does that mean that we're going to see, you know, crazy big shakeups that are obvious to us as people that are relying on mainstream news to tell us what's happening? That's not what it means. A lot of the things that may be happening that are, you know, indicated by this chart may be happening behind closed doors, and we average people may not be aware of them as big transformations are happening on, say, a governmental level or an economic level. We're just going to have to see for ourselves. As I'm talking about it, I'm thinking back to January of 2020, when there was a big conjunction on January the 12th of 2020. All the astrologers were like, what's going to happen in January of 2020? Well, a bunch of nothing. But that conjunction indicated a big shift in the area of government, communication, supply chain disruption, a big focus on health. And like, what did we have 3 months later? A big shutdown of all the supply chains and censorship and lockdowns. And it all came back, like it was all reflected in this conjunction. But we saw that, and so many people were expecting things to happen in January, and it just didn't. It just didn't. So we have a lot of stuff showing up now in October that's indicating big transformation. Is it going to happen in October? I don't know. Like, nobody is really qualified to guarantee that. But just to say that there are probably things going on this month that are going to affect us down the road. And these are the flavors that it's going to take: unexpected events, death and rebirth around government, business, land, housing, assets, the housing market, all of these kinds of things. We're going to see some big transformation in this area over time, death and rebirth in that area over time. And the stuff that's happening this month, we may or may not get to be aware of. I look back at January 2020, and I bet some big decisions were being made behind closed doors that day. And they didn't even know that there was this big conjunction happening. But I bet something big did happen that day. I bet that some key decision makers made some choices that affected everybody in the whole world that day. And we'll just never know what those decisions were because it wasn't obvious, right? I actually just bought this book. I haven't even opened it yet. I don't know where I put it. It's called Fake Invisible Catastrophes and Threats of Doom. I'm really excited about it, but it's about this concept that everything that we're supposed to be afraid of right now is invisible. Like, we're supposed to be afraid of carbon dioxide. We're supposed to be afraid of like little viruses and stuff. And like, maybe that's justified, but you can't see it. You can't see it with your bare eyes. You can't go outside and be like, yes, carbon dioxide levels are sure high today. Like, you can't do that. You can't look outside and say, yes, we're clearly having a high amount of viral particles in the air today. Like, you can't. And so this book is about this idea that we're trying to be fear-mongered with these like invisible threats of doom. And I don't know, I think that's kind of how modern life is right now. A lot of invisible threats of doom. We are surrounded by a lot of things that we're told to worry about without a whole lot of personal evidence that we should be worried about it all the time. Like, sometimes yes, but a lot of times we're taking the words of people that might not have our best interest in mind when they're telling us what to be afraid of. So all of this is to say, don't be afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of for you. You are a conscious person. You are learning about what's going on in this world, and you're taking action, and you're healing your life. And so that is amazing for you. Over the next days up until October 14th, we're going to keep talking about this and preparing for this eclipse portal so that when it happens, we're going to just be super effective at everything that we want to get out of it. Whatever it is in your life that you need to heal around your relationships, your reputation, your business, your money, your land, all of these themes of this coming eclipse portal, this is a perfect time to be putting that into action for you. And we're going to work together on it. So be sure to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell and everything, because we're going to keep working on it. I'm going to mention one last thing real quick, which is that I was thinking about what to recommend for these first couple days as far as sessions. Like, if I had a session that might be good, this is allieduzetclasses.com, my website. This birth trauma session really came to mind. If you have not done it, I strongly recommend it in preparation for this eclipse portal, because we are going to be experiencing a rebirth through this eclipse portal. So this is the session that I wanted to recommend today. Birth trauma. Let's see, it's here's like a bunch of little testimonials and stuff like that. But you get to pick your own price point. And so that is good. I try to make sure that my stuff is like very affordable for people. So anyway, that is a session that I'll invite you to consider today, especially if you already have it. Go do it again, specifically with the intention that you're going to clear any blocks to getting the most out of this upcoming eclipse portal. Okay, I'm going to see you tomorrow. Thanks for being here, guys. Bye.